Hello, winners. Thank you for joining the Two for the Win podcast with your hosts, Nick and Will. We share fun and insightful international perspectives on leadership, mindset, travel, sports, and a variety of other tidbits to add perspective and levity to your day. Be sure to subscribe and follow us so you know when the latest episodes launch. Today, we're really excited to share our first travel podcast episode where we will talk about some unique destinations as well as the business side of travel, including a travel agency. So really looking forward to a great show today. Nick, great to be with you today.
Oh, absolutely. Cannot wait for travel.
Yeah. So I thought maybe it'd be helpful kind of set the stage a little bit with our listeners about what are some of the things we're going to talk about with travel and why did we pick travel as a topic. So I know for you, being born and raised in Europe, you traveled a lot over in Europe. Obviously, you now migrated to the United States, became a citizen. For me, it was a little different. Like I grew up in Wisconsin. I didn't go west of the Mississippi until I was 17 years old. We never traveled as a family. And but I got the bug, obviously getting to travel and see other perspectives and cultures. And certainly there's a lot to see in the United States and around the world. But how about for you? So like what, I know obviously you travel, but what other things are kind of an interest to you?
For me, it was a little bit different in Europe. Usually during summertime, we try to escape for a couple of weeks. So I used to go a lot to Spain with the family. And as mentioned in the first episode, my parents had like a sort of caravan in the east of Belgium, in the Ardennes, where we spent most weekends over there. So I was able to visit different places in the country and then the nearby countries like Germany, Luxembourg, France, and Holland. So those I was used to go on vacation more often. So I was able to visit a little bit more in young age.
Were you wearing wooden shoes when you went to Holland?
No.
No, that's excellent. Now, obviously, people can read our polos, and we have dream vacations. So I think you took your passion of travel to a next level to monetize it. So to speak.
Absolutely. So basically, what happened is I always look at ways, to monetize what my passions are. And here, every time I was traveling, I was posting on all social media the different location I went to, the experience I had along the way. And I realized that a lot of time people were reaching out and say, "Hey Nick, I saw that you went to Cancun or you went to Cabo or you went to somewhere in Europe. I would love to have your perspective. How was it? And then based on that, I give information and advice, and I see them within 6 to 12 months living in those locations, and it happens quite often. So I was like, So I have something there, like if I have my own agency, I will be able to provide those services to my friends and family and people I know. So I decided to learn about, what's the best way to start a travel agency. And with a lot of learning, I realized that with Dream Vacation, everything that I was looking for was available for me. And so I decided to jump into it a little bit more than 2 years ago now. And fantastic. I love it. I learned destination I never knew existed.
Yeah.
And through my clients, I'm also able to learn so much because when they go to certain destination I've never been, I'm curious. And so I ask questions when they come back, and I gather those information for future client and for myself. So I try to travel to the most location as possible. So I'm able to help my future customer a lot better by providing on-hand experience.
No, it's fantastic, and I know you've had a lot of early success while doing it, and helping a lot of couples having like amazing experiences, or families, or solo travelers. It doesn't really matter. You customize the experience to fit what their desires and passions are for it. I think what's also important to note is, we both have full-time roles in a Fortune 500 company. So this is something that you decided to do above and beyond what your, I guess you could say your standard career, what was taking a lot of your time. So maybe walk through our listeners the mindset of, you talked about why you wanted it. You had people asking you about it and things like that, but how do you manage, the experience to fit what their desires and passions are for it? I think what's also important to note is, we both have full-time roles in a Fortune 500 company. So this is something that you decided to do above and beyond what your, I guess you could say your standard career, what was taking a lot of your time. So maybe walk through you talked about why you wanted it. You had people asking about it and things like that, but how do you manage building something like this when you have another role that obviously takes up a lot of time during the week as well?
Absolutely. So all that time that I spent in beginning, the first 6 months, 6 to 9 months, were a lot of trainings, online trainings. So I make sure to block 2 hours after the day, at the end of the day, so evenings, weekends, of course, to do all those trainings online and learn about different vendors, different cruise lines, different hotel, resort, activities to do in different continents. So there is tons of trainings for us available for all the different vendors. So I prioritize my time outside my day-to-day job to be able to do that. And then once you get more comfortable, you start, booking a cruise and then booking like a resort, all inclusive. Then you create an itinerary, so which was stressful at first. And then a second one, then you do something in Africa for a safari, and then you do Asia. And then you realize that as you go, you learn more and you become more and more, confident with what you have to offer. And so, yeah, but it doesn't really interfere with my day-to-day job, otherwise I would not do it. So but it's a fun role to have, and I'm looking forward to continue to expand it because I see tons of potential on the industry.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, do you remember what was your first booking? Where did they go?
My first booking was a friend of me. His name is Eric, and he went with his partner to Bahamas. So
Okay.
it was not a very a long distance kind of travel because he lives in Florida. So, but it was going in Bahamas for a long weekend. That was my first one.
So as you were typing in like the reservation details and stuff, were your fingers shaking or
It
whatever?
was. Yeah. Actually, it's funny because I made sure to do it online like we're supposed to do. Then call the vendors to make sure it was done, and I also called the resorts to make sure that they also had it.
Yeah.
Which you're not supposed to do, but I was doing more because I want to make sure that I'm not screwing it up, because when you do it for yourself, it's you. But when you do it for others, you need to make sure that everything, the dot on the I and the square the T's. Yeah. So I needed to do all of that. So in beginning, it's more stressful. Like the first time you do anything, it's always more stressful.
Yeah.
But then when you get used to it, it's a lot more fun.
So basically, you took quality control to the third power type of thing.
Definitely.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But he had a great experience, and that's the most important. That was my first review as well. So that was great.
Yeah. And I think, as we think about that, one of the things you mentioned earlier, you mentioned getting involved in this from the business side of things with the travel agency and the travel business, just in general. Your mind opened up to other destinations you've never really thought of. Do you have one that kind of comes to mind that really was like, wow, I never really thought of this place, but it looks just fantastic?
Surprisingly enough, there are a few, but one was more recently, South Korea.
Yeah.
So, funny enough,
not to do K-pop. You didn't want to.
No, but it was. I never even stay still about South Korea. Like, why would you go to South Korea? Was my first reaction. I did, I sold a lot of Japan, China, and a lot of different places in Asia. But South Korea was new to me. And then since then, actually, I got a few more bookings in South Korea, because what I realized is, wow, like South Korea is gorgeous. They have like islands who are like as good as any island you can find anywhere. They have like from every style, like the urban style, like the beachy side, the islands, like I mentioned. You have so much to do on a very, very good price. So of course you need to fly there, which is of course a big chunk of your invoice. But in Korea itself, South Korea itself, it's absolutely not expensive, and you can really visit things that you cannot visit if you go in the Caribbean or in Tahiti, Fiji. The price is a fraction of that. So that was very, very interesting. And actually, my plan next year is to try to stop there at one point to visit.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Oh, nice. And taking K-pop concert, probably, right? Do you have your artists already picked up for that?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. But I will think about it now.
Yeah, great. No, good stuff. So, kind of bringing it back. So you mentioned about, why you decided to get on the business side of travel and found a travel agency. maybe you can talk a little bit about why would people use travel agent, or what are some misconceptions people may have about leveraging a travel agent, or things they don't know they don't know.
Absolutely, that's a great question, and it's a question that came up a thousand times since I started. Why using you compared to go directly on Royal Caribbean, for example, to book a cruise? Well, you have to realize that the commission are included in the price that you see on all vendors' websites. I told about Royal Caribbean, for example. Let's stay there. If you go royalcaribbean.com, you see a cruise that you like, you book it. If you book it with me, it's going to be exactly the same price or better with me. Why? Dream Vacation is part of WTH, which is World Travel Holdings. And they have contracts with all vendors worldwide. So it means that we will always have the same price as what they have online or better. Let me explain the better. So we get offers and deals around the year for each different vendors with Dream Vacations only. So Dream Vacation will offer this on this booking that you will not have on the website, for example. Second piece, groups. There are tons of groups who are private, but majority of the groups are actually open. But you don't have the visibility as a person who go online directly to actually get those deals. So I can look at offers who are pending or open in different cruise lines for groups which preferred, pricing. That I can actually jump in. If they are not private, I jump in and utilize for my client as well. So long story short, if you use us as travel agent, you will never pay a dime more than what you see online. So it's a win-win because you will get the service that you already paid for basically, but you get me or you get someone who will be able to actually help you navigate your itineraries if you need to make any change along the way. So you book something and then, I would like to add someone, I would like to change a name, I would like to do anything that needs to be done sometimes last minute. You don't have to wait for an hour and a half on an 800 number to try to figure it out how to do it. You text me, you call us, and we're gonna make it happen for you. So it's a peace of mind that if anything should happen, you have a person contact who will take care of that for you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think like one of the things that I found very interesting as I knew you were starting to go through this journey was things like wedding planning, and like having, the honeymoon and the large groups sometimes that come with that. If they do destination weddings, or they do, they want their honeymoon, but you could have what, 20, 30 people on some of these things. And just thinking about, okay, if an individual consumer was trying to handle that on behalf of the group, in addition, if it's the same person who's being involved with the wedding, which is stressful, right, with all the planning, like that's a lot. And so to be able to kind of leverage a professional to aid in that has to give people like that a lot of peace of mind, I would imagine.
100%. The wedding is very specific, but we have all the training as a travel agency. We have all the training to be able to do so as well. I specialize more in cruise weddings, which is very popular in Florida, of course, because we have so many ports. But it's definitely something that I'm doing more and more often. I think I have 4 or 5 currently who are open, meaning that, the offer is there for their guests to jump in and book a cruise, like book a cabin. So it's something that's very popular because it's better pricing for the weds. So they just book the cruise for themselves and the reception, and then they invite all the guests that they would like to have, and the guests contact me directly to take care of the accommodations. And so, as many or as little people you want to have on your wedding, you have them on the cruise. So it's very good. And then also, like you mentioned, honeymoon. A lot of those people choosing wedding cruise, they are actually going on their honeymoon right after. So, or they extend the cruise somewhere else, or they just fly to another destination to have like a wedding destination more for their honeymoon. So that's something we do a lot with our agency.
Oh, great. And, I know you've been mentioning a lot about cruising, and that's obviously a very popular way to take vacations and holidays. But what about like all-inclusive resorts or land-related type vacations?
Yeah, of course. So we can do anything that you can think of about travel. We can do everything. The reason why cruising is huge for us is because we are located in Florida. Like I said, Florida, California, Texas, and New York are very high in cruising because they have their port over there. Last year, around 70% of the book of business for 2023 was cruising for the agency. This year is around 25%. So the rest is a lot about itineraries. So destination Europe, Asia, safari in Africa, South America, Antarctica. We have literally everything. And then, like you mentioned, all inclusives, which for Florida is very easy. You go to, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, like Costa Rica, Mexico.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere. Very cheap like flights, and then you can enjoy all inclusive over there. So you have of course the family all inclusive, which kids with kids, and then you have the adult only in inclusive. So I have my contact. I mean, through the agency, we have contacts for every single resort you can imagine, and we give advice based on what the client wants. So I usually don't like to advertise one thing and try to push everything to that thing, because depending on what the clients actually wants, someone's more quiet area, some people wants more area where they can party. So it all depends. No judgment. Everybody like what they like. But my role and our role, it's really to make sure that we are providing the best possible vacation with the budget they have to make things, beautiful experience and dream vacations.
Excellent. So it sounds like whether somebody wants to cruise or they want to take excursions or just go to an all-inclusive resort and relax, you can help them with all those different things.
Absolutely. And just so you know, with our agency, we have for itineraries, for example, Europe, we take care of everything. Meaning everything means as soon as you arrive at the airport, to the time that you come back to the airport, everything is taken care of. So some people want some freedom, and we give the freedom, but we also customize everything A to Z, meaning they land, they get picked up by a private chauffeur, they go to their hotels, they have the activities lined up. So at that time, we come pick you up at the hotel, you get those excursions, you visit XYZ, you come back, you have time 2, 3 hours, 4 hours depending what you like to have, free time, or you go eat dinner at certain location. We provide for most location a list of everywhere to go. Now you can choose whatever you want to use or not, but we try to have everything facilitated for our clients, and everything to get back to Florida in this case, and then so you have peace of mind. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. When you think about, I'm sure you've gotten a number of interesting requests, maybe places, again, you mentioned South Korea earlier that you wouldn't necessarily have thought of, but seems amazing. Is there a itinerary experience or a destination request that you got from somebody that really you were like, I never would have thought of something like this, and were able to help them out?
Yes, let me think what I can say on podcast. No, yeah, you have interesting groups who are contacting us as well. I mean, you have different demographic. So you have the LGBT group who contact me. We have specific things for them, customized. So we have vendors who are doing things specific for them, for groups and things of that nature. So that was something that I was not familiar at first. Same with swingers. We have swingers planning vacations. So that's a little bit different. But hey, I adapt to whatever clients we have. So that's good. Something that I never thought of. I don't like the cold. So I really hate the cold personally. That's one of the many reasons I moved from Belgium to Florida. So to escape the cold.
And me from Wisconsin to eventually Florida.
Exactly. Antarctica was something I was wondering about, but it's phenomenal. Like the ability to be able to kayaking while you have whales under your kayak, it's pretty interesting. And that's what happened to a lot of my clients when they go to Antarctica. They see, of course, the penguins, they see the wildlife, but those excursions with kayaking from the ship to go on those glaciers and with expedition specialists. There is 2023 specialists like actually analyzing their itinerary the day before they go to each destination in Antarctica to see where the wildlife is. And based on the advice of those expedition person, they actually the ship go there because that's where the wildlife is. And of course, everything is by code for safety, so there is nothing to worry about. But literally, you had like people going on kayak and huge whale under, so you could see the color of the water changing. So those experiences only happen there, for example.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I can only imagine kayaking and then seeing a whale underneath. That has to be an adrenaline rush.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. And I never thought about Antarctica. I mean, I've known about Alaska and I've heard about that being beautiful, even though I've never gone. But that is a unique one, Antarctica.
Absolutely. And then the cruise was actually seaborne. So
Okay.
Seabourn is a cruise line that is specialized in that specialized exactly in Antarctica and Iceland area as well for Arctica. So they have something very specific. So when you book with them and you go in your room, they have your size that you needed to provide in advance, your size like combination for the extreme cold, who is ready on the bed. And then when you do an excursion in the morning outside, you come back and you have to put your combination in a specific closet who is heated. And then for after an hour, you come back, you put the combination back for the excursion in the afternoon, and it's actually super warm and you don't feel no cold outside. So that's
Now
very, and then
that's what I'm
you
talking about.
and you bring that back home. So that's including the cruise price. So
I
it's
wish
pretty
we
cool.
had that when I was growing up in Wisconsin.
I will not
Oh, I
comment on that.
remember like shoveling snow, by the hand. We didn't have a snow blower, and all that. That would have been fantastic. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Something a little better than some hot chicken soup.
it definitely sounds better.
Yeah, nice, nice. No, very cool. So, when people are interested about having, inquiring about travel experiences or leveraging your services in order to book these kind of experiences, what's the best way they should get a hold of you?
Yeah, so they can go directly through the website, which is jetsettinglifestyle.com. So jetsettinglifestyle.com. Or by email. We will provide everything in the bottom of the episodes, on the whenever you're downloading the episodes from, there's going to be all contact information there. But please do not hesitate to contact us, and then we can definitely help you out with your next vacation as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now sounds great. And I was reflecting as you were chatting about all the different things on the business side of it, but I just love all different types of travel. I like itinerary excursion type. I enjoy cruise, all inclusives, and there's just a different variety. So whether somebody has something specific or not, I mean, doesn't matter. You can help with it. Like you said, it doesn't cost anything more. In fact, sometimes it may even cost less and they get more for their value. But for me, yeah. So whether it's traveling to Vegas or going to Europe, like the last trip I went outside of Florida was to Belgium, as you know. We went to Tomorrowland and saw the 20th anniversary of that world's largest EDM festival, and went to Champagne, France, and did the winery tours and stuff. But I mean, just phenomenal. So much to see. Talk more about it in detail because I know we don't have time today. But it's just so much out there in the world to see, and great food, great people, great scenery. No matter what your flavor is, so to speak, obviously there's something out there to be able to satiate that experience or
Absolutely.
desire.
We didn't scratch the surface of what's to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I speak for myself, but yeah, there's so much to see. Let's go out there and just experience. I think that has no price. That's something you take with you at the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's about life experiences and living in the moment and enjoying it. Yeah, there's so much out there. So, no, fantastic. Well, appreciate that. So, I think that will wrap up today's episode. And so, again, winners, thank you for listening. Hopefully, you learned a little bit more about the travel agency and some different travel experiences you might not have thought of before, destinations. Please make sure you subscribe to the Two for the Win podcast and share any feedback you have, or check out the links that Nick mentioned you'll find at the bottom of wherever you're accessing this podcast. But really looking forward to our next episode, which is coming up this Friday, October 4th. And that will be our first episode about sports.
Get ready.
I know.
Get ready.
I know. That should have some interesting banter on that one. Go Pack, go. All right. So anyway, so thanks for joining in, everyone. Hope you're well and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
Bye, winners.